He was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1919, moving to Watertown in 1925. An all-scholastic football player at Waltham High School, he went to Holy Cross College, where he became an All-American guard and eventually a member of their Hall of Fame. He was a member of the Washington Redskins and was on their National Football League championship team with Sammy Baugh in 1942. Began his coaching career as an assistant coach at Holy Cross College, and from there became the head football coach at Watertown High School in 1949, and what a record he carved in that short time from 1949 to 1953. 2 Class B championships. Ira Miller, Coco Gregorian, George McCurdick, Babe Samorian, Lenny Hill, Bob Caprillion, Phil Stackpole, Gene Renzi, Phil Renzi, and the names of great Watertown players of that time can go on and on. Joe Zeno, whether at Holy Cross College, at Waltham High School, at Santa Paula High School in California, or at Watertown, was a great man, a great coach, and a great influence on young men. A beloved legend, remembered here tonight, 43 years after coaching his last game at Watertown High School. Joe Zeno's Hall of Fame induction will be accepted by his grandson, Lance Zeno, who was an All-American at UCLA, presently plays in his grandfather's tradition in the National Football League for the Green Bay Packers. Joe Zeno, Hall of Famer.
Oh, baby, 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 Riley. Oh, baby, Riley, going far away. Oh, baby, Riley, won't you dance today? From Cincinnati down to Golden Mars. Oh, baby, baby, baby,
Thank you very much. Looking at this picture up here, actually, I'm glad we have face masks nowadays, or my nose wouldn't be this way. I'm very, very honored to be here tonight. I don't know, just talking to everyone tonight, people who've known my grandfather and what he's done for the community and the football team and everything else around here. I'm very, very proud to be here. I've had a long flight, just flew in from California today, but it was well worth it. Coming here on the plane, I'm thinking about some things that what my grandfather means to me, what he's done for me, and I go back to when I was a little kid, and I looked up to him like, everyone's got an idol nowadays, Michael Jordan, whoever. When I was a little kid, it was my grandfather, because I used to go around school and brag to everyone that my grandfather played for the Washington Redskins with Sammy Baugh, and he was a pro football player, and to me that was better than, Michael Jordan or Joe Montana or anything like that. He was in my family. I had pictures from my grandfather when I was a little kid, and to me, that's who I wanted to be. I wanted to be a professional athlete all my life, and I'm very, very fortunate right now to have the opportunity to play in the NFL. But listening to some people that I've met tonight talk about my grandfather and the things that they've been saying about him, it to me is a great joy, because I knew that the man that he was. He used to go to all of my games at UCLA, never missed one, and every single game I'd walk out of the locker room and he'd come up to me. He was, this tall and this wide, just a big man, and he'd come up to me and he'd shake my hand, and he didn't like to compliment me. He's like my dad, he's a coach. He'd like, that block in the second quarter? And I'd say, yeah, I know what you're talking about. He'd go, he said, you'll get him next time. And he'd shake my hand, and every time I shook his hand, there's something in there. First time he'd always give me money all the time, because I didn't have any money in college. And I said, Grandpa, I don't want the money. And every time he'd do it, this got to be a routine. So I would shake his hand, and I'd slip the bill back in his hand, and he'd say, no, take your girlfriend out or something like that. But he went to every single game at UCLA, and one game that I can remember that he couldn't go to, by the time my senior year came along, his health wasn't real good, and he was having a hard time. At that time, he couldn't drive, and my aunt used to pick him up and bring him to all the games at UCLA. But one game, I called my aunt. I said, how many tickets do you need? Is Grandpa going to go? And she said, no, he's not going to go. He just doesn't think that, we don't think that he can make it through a game. So after the game, I came out of the tunnel and I walk out and I see him. He's there. I go to my aunt. I said, what's going on? How did he get here? She's like, I don't know. She's like, I didn't pick him up. And I asked my mom. I said, did you talk to Grandpa? And Grandpa came to me. I go, Grandpa, I said, how did you get here? Because at this time he hadn't driven in probably 7 or 8 months. And he said, I really wanted to go to the game. I got in my car and I drove there. And this was, he lived probably 30 minutes away from the Rose Bowl. So that's the type of person he was. I don't think I've ever known anyone to have as big a heart as him. He was, just listening to everyone talk tonight about the type of person that he was, and everything that I wanted as a kid, I have now. I'm very thankful for that. But he was someone who I idolized, and it makes me proud to be here. Even though it's a long journey, it's well worth it. And I'm proud to represent the family to be here. And geez, I could be talking here all night. I really could. Here's some things that I listened to people talk tonight about the type of person that he was. And during the memorial service a couple years ago, my dad would sat and read some letters from, I think, players and students from either here or California, and all of them said one thing, that he's probably the nicest person they ever met, and all the ways that he influenced their lives. And I can't say enough about him, and that everything that he's influenced me in my life. And I don't think I'd be where I am today without his help. And that's all I got to say. Thank you very much.